Because I just don't. I don't understand. Like, how do you guys not have like Andy's hot fries? Like, it's not like a simulated cheese like you were talking about right before the show started, right? Like, this is actually like good stuff. Like Andy's hot fries. This is the real shit, and it's not. There's no cheese. Right, it's just spice. Okay. It's like the hot Cheetos, spice, but not as messy. Yeah, the hot Cheetos, like you never want to go to bed with a bag of hot Cheetos next to your bedstand, right? Because you're gonna end up reaching over at some point when you drink, and you're gonna end up reaching your hand in this bag of hot Cheetos, and then you're gonna eat them, and then you're gonna forget, and you're gonna literally put your hand on your pillow, and then your pillow, like everything gets stained, right? Have you ever eaten hot Cheetos like before you go to bed before, or anywhere?
No, I've never eaten hot Cheetos in my entire life.
No, but I have gotten on the bus. I've gotten on the bus 3 days in a row, and every day there was a guy on the bus at 7 a.m. eating a bag of hot Cheetos.
Wait, neither one of you guys have had hot Cheetos?
Like, I have had hot Cheetos, yes.
Okay, you know how messy they can get, though, right? Yes, you literally stain your walls and shit just from eating a bag of hot Cheetos.
Yeah.
Like, you don't even know how. You literally have to repaint your walls after eating a bag of hot Cheetos. That's how dangerous it gets.
It's got that insane asylum look. Like there's the blood hands coming down the wall.
And you don't even know how you get there. But Andy's hot fries, which, by the way, not a sponsor. I feel like now this is too...
Oh, not a sponsor?
Not a sponsor, but still, Andy's hot fries, like they're so delicious. And you guys don't have them in Canada. You should import like a whole case of them to your house.
I mean, I won't, but I appreciate your thought. By the way, last night I was talking about how you need the Moosehead Rattlers because they have more of a higher percentage. Look at this bad boy right here. That's a 4% Rattler.
Stop.
And in America, that's even more because in America, you guys have like actual beers that are 3%. So you guys are a bunch of sissy poops.
What beer is 3%?
All your beers are less percentage in America.
What are you talking about? Wait, is this a metrics thing?
No, this is just an actual like regulation thing. Like if you get Coors Banquet in Canada, it has a higher percentage than Coors Banquet in America.
What's
who gets
higher
Coors?
Percentage?
Yeah,
well, I'm just picking Coors Banquet because I feel like it's like a
3
beer that everyone has.
Like,
yeah,
well, I'm gonna look it up right now.
Like Natty Light is like 4.5%, and that's shitty. Like most of our beers have at least 5% alcohol. Yeah, it's 4.5.
No, I don't think that's true. Yeah, 4.5, but it's 5% in Canada, so we get an extra 10%.
It's Natty Light.
Wait, an extra 10% or an extra 10 proof? Which I don't know if proofs exist in beer.
No, like it's a 10% additional because like we have an additional 0.5%, but that's like a 10% margin over 4.5%. Or actually, it's 11.1 repeating, but whatever. Who's counting?
Wait. So like, let's just say with Bud Light. What's your percentage over there with Bud Light?
Bud Light's 4%.
Yeah, ours is 5%.
But your Bud Light's not 5%. That's fake news. There's no chance your Bud Light's 5%.
I don't think that is.
There's no way your Bud Light's 5%.
I'm pretty sure. Can we get help in the comments, please? Bud Light.
Budweiser is 5%.
Bud Light is 4.4%.
I got 5% showing right here.
Well, then you're looking at fake news. Billy said he had 4 point something. I believe
4.4.
I'll take 4.4.
Okay.
I believe 4.4.
Budweiser is.
I was guessing on 4%. I'm not even 100% sure it's 4% in Canada because like I would never drink Bud Light. I'd rather die.
Oh my god! All right, let's go ahead and.
Honestly, like I support craft beer, right? I gotta get some Winnipeg craft breweries to support the podcast. My dad suggested this.
Oh man.
This is Fantasy Intervention. Now here to intervene with your fantasy life, Chase Vernon.
What's going on, guys? Welcome into another episode of Fantasy Intervention, coming at you hot and quick. Once again, I am joined by, of course, Jakob Sanderson, the co-host from Tuesday Nights, and Billy. What's going on, guys? How y'all doing?
Yeah, I mean, that's it. That's what my girlfriends always call me, hot and quick.
I figured that. Billy, what do they call you?
Call me Billy.
That makes sense. That makes sense. We can roll with it, just give it to you like that. Billy, your room looks very crooked. Do you live on a hill?
No, it's because I have this stupid camera. I had this camera that when I bought it, it was perfect. Like everything worked fine. The second I put it down on like top of my screen, it tilted, and I can't fix it again. So it has. Is that where
y'all's name comes from?
I was just gonna say that's over the full tilt.
Yeah, it's committing now. No,
yeah.
It's this stupid camera.
You guys should all do that name for your podcast, right? Like the Full Tilt podcast. Everybody tilts their
Dutch
cameras.
angle.
Yeah. Oh God, that would drive me insane. That would drive me absolutely nuts. And yeah, you guys are from the Full Tilt Dynasty podcast, right? And you guys do that with Thomas Tipple. You guys crushed it out there. Do you guys want to drop the handle for that on Twitter real quick so everybody knows where to find you?
Absolutely. Handle for us, and here I'll do this while I'm on tilt. There we go, just so it works for the brand. Handle is at Dynasty Tilt on Twitter, and I'll just plug right now, we're giving away a free Scott Fishbowl 11 entry. So if you go to Dynasty Tilt page, we got the tweet right there. You're just going to like that tweet. You're going to follow us, subscribe to us on YouTube at Full Tilt Dynasty Podcast, and share your most tilting fantasy story. So check that out if you want to get in the Scott Fishbowl, and check us out on Dynasty Tilt. We go every Friday at 7 p.m. Eastern time, me and Billy and Tom and a wide array of guests.
Absolutely love it. Billy, where can they find you?
You can find me on Twitter at BigBillyFF. I am finally finalizing my projections model. So that's been eating up a lot of my time, and it'll finally be going live soon. So that's exciting.
Didn't you say that last week? Weren't you talking about that last week?
Yes, I am through Houston.
Out there you were making a Texas joke for a second, but then I realized Houston's an actual NFL team that has no legitimate players.
Are they an actual NFL team? Can we relegate them?
Oh man, this is getting
I think whoever
tough with
wins
Houston.
the Grey Cup this year in the CFL should get to take Houston's place.
I think they should have a game. It doesn't have to be given right away.
Don't you guys only play with like 7 players on the field or something?
No, we play with more players on the field, actually.
How many players do you guys have on the field?
We play with 12 per side at a time instead of 11, and we also have a bigger ball. Our slogan throughout the 80s was "Our balls are bigger."
That's exciting. So let's go ahead and hop into this week's topic. Real quick, first off, I do want to go through a couple of things in news real quick. Just brief overview. We have the Packers making a little bit of space and a little bit of a weird contract situation where they did almost like a Taysom Hill-esque contract. They gave Robert Tonyan like 1 year worth of a contract, but really it was like 5 years in order to expand the dead cap hit or whatever it was, or to expand the cap separation. If we're sitting there, we're looking at it, is Aaron Rodgers returning to the Green Bay Packers? We'll start out with Billy on this one.
I have so I'm a Packers fan. You can see the shirt in the background. I have the unpopular opinion that seems that I think Aaron Rodgers is going to be back. I think that, and maybe it's my bias talking, that's totally fair. I'm just under the impression that he has so much money to lose, and the Packers have no real reason to move him unless, like, if he truly is in the situation where he is never going to play football again and is going to opt to do that rather than play for the Packers. 1, good on him. 2, screw the Packers. 3, at that point, that's the only situation I could see them trading him. But I don't think that's where the situation is. So that's my opinion.
No, I love that. Jacob, how are you feeling about that?
Yeah, I mean, I really don't have a strong confidence about it. When this first came down, I just thought he was going to be out. I just figured, if we've seen how these work, especially in the NBA, where you see a player that really wants out, they usually get their wish. There's not much the team can do about that. But as this has continued, I mean, it seems like the receivers, based on some things they've said in interviews, based on them not showing up to practice, they at least think that there are actions that can be taken to fix it. And that's interesting, right? Just the way it works, I just feel like if this was a done deal, you'd hear a lot more from Packers brass about we're happy to start Jordan Love. We're confident with Jordan Love. Maybe like we'd like to see Aaron, if Aaron shows up, he's welcome, but otherwise we're moving forward without him. And that doesn't seem to be the attitude. They seem like they really do want Aaron back. There doesn't seem to be a whole lot of confidence in Mr. Love. And, I think that it's telling to me also that Denver took Patrick Surtain. Like, I think that if they wanted Aaron Rodgers, people were saying, because they didn't take a quarterback, that must mean that they are getting Aaron Rodgers. To me, if you wanted Aaron Rodgers and you had a deal in place, why not just take Justin Fields? Wouldn't Green Bay want Justin Fields in that case, even if Denver didn't feel as passionately about it? So I don't think there's any deals that are on the table. I don't think there's any that are imminent. If I'm a betting person, and I mean I am, I would be betting on Aaron Rodgers to be the quarterback of the Packers, but I think it could go either way. Like, I'm like 60-40.
Well, sitting there and talking about why they didn't trade for him and why people thought they were still going to be getting him at this point is because of the fact that we had the June 1st, deadline for where, hey, if they traded Aaron Rodgers prior to this, they were looking at 30, 40 million that they had to incur for this year. If they ended up, waiting till June 1st and they traded him after that, then they would only see 16 million or whatever the case was in dead cap, or maybe they would have saved 60 million dead cap. So they can end up spreading it over a 2-year period. With that being said, we have players like Julio Jones and whatnot that, could be traded at this point. But, everybody's like, oh, this is going to be the day that happens. It's going to be the day that happens. Listen, none of these players have to be traded by this point. I mean, outside of the Falcons needed to sign their rookies, which in that case, they would have to move around a little bit of money in order to make room for the rookies. Yeah. There's really no incentive for people to actually go ahead and move Julio Jones. There's a good chance we'll see Julio Jones traded until late July. When we're about to walk into training camp. It's a very good chance if they're able to move around money prior to. Now, do I think they want to do that? No. But we've seen, like, the biggest trade that we've ever seen in June was Calvin Pryor for, Lee. I don't even remember his last name. He was like a linebacker for the Jets or somebody like that. So, we don't see any trades. TJ Yeldon was like the next biggest one. Yes. We don't see trades happen in June. They just don't happen because there's very little incentive for teams to do that. But with that being said, I'm not sure that Aaron Rodgers does get traded right now. I think he's more likely to get traded sooner than Julio Jones, but I think he's also less likely to get traded as a whole, if that makes any sense. It's almost like a ceiling floor type situation.
Yeah.
As for Julio Jones, I think that he's definitely getting traded. I think that we could see him, if they can work out the salary cap situation with their rookies, I think it's more likely that we see him get traded in late July versus, immediately. So once again, they still have about a week or so to work out these rookie contracts and create space for that. If they don't, then they obviously would have to trade Julio. But let's go ahead and dive into part 2 of our draft, right? Us at Fantasy Intervention, we decided to get together. We decided to put together a little dynasty draft because we want to do a startup. I told you guys I would do one more draft. This is the one. This is the one. This is our Fantasy Intervention draft. And we decided to break down, last week, the first, 10 rounds or so of picks. This week, we're going to go ahead and bring it up. We talked about Kareem Hunt last week. We talked about, quite a handful of players, to be honest. Let's go ahead and bring that full screen.
Hefty handful.
Can you guys see that all right? Is that appearing up on the screen okay?
Yes, sir.
All right, sounds good. We talked about, Mixon was probably the top topic. We had, some surprises in there as well with Ezekiel Elliott, where he went. A lot of trades happened. We had 24 trades, I believe, in the first 10 rounds of the draft. You guys can see all these little, gray areas right here that I'm circling with the mouse. That's all a trade situation, trade scenario. So as we went through, I believe we got to right around round 10. And I had traded away both my picks on the turn for 12, 11-1. But then we look at it, and we saw quite a few veterans go off the board in the 11th round. We're sitting there, we're looking at Antonio Brown, Evan Ingram, Leonard Fournette, Tyler Boyd. I feel like these are players that definitely have a shot at making a splash, but I'm not completely sold that they're going to end up winning anybody's roster. So let's go ahead and start out with the Antonio Brown aspect. Antonio Brown was in a very interesting spot. He had what I believe a little bit of a contractual dispute to start up the offseason. He ended up figuring it out. Now he's there, but doesn't he have to have surgery or something now?
AB?
Yeah.
Oh, man. Did he go loud luxury again? Did he have cold feet?
No, I don't even know what it is. But I mean, all right. So sitting there and looking at it, like, is Antonio Brown a player that you think is a good investment at this point for a win now type team? He went to Jordan, right? And Jordan started out his draft with Kyler Murray, DeAndre Hopkins, Devontae Adams. So obviously he's going for a win now type atmosphere. We have, Austin Eckler. Even James Robinson is more of a win now type player. So is Antonio Brown somebody that he could actually start in the flex for you guys, or somebody that he could have as a third wide receiver?
Yeah, I think so. Now, I think you took him a little early. I'm actually in another startup right now, and I just took Antonio Brown in that one. I took him at the 14-12. So I think early round 11 is a little bit early for my taste. I just think, we see other receivers. I'm not going to victory lap my Boyd pick, but he's a guy who went. Will Fuller. I think Corey Davis might have been in that mix there. Just there's other guys I think that will probably give you similar value. I mean, particularly Robbie Anderson was one that I guess he went slightly before, sorry. But Boyd and Fuller are two that are actually going ahead of Antonio Brown in redraft right now. So to me, drafting a 32-year-old over a couple of 27-year-olds who are actually going ahead of him in redraft, that seems like a little bit of a reach. That being said, I think Antonio Brown is a massive value in redraft. I'm sort of just doing high-level projection thinking right now, and I don't imagine I'm going to have a massive gap between those three Tampa wide receivers, Evans, Godwin, and Brown. I think Antonio Brown has a pretty decent shot at being a wide receiver 2 this year in fantasy, and he's a guy that I'm certainly targeting either in trades or in the late rounds of startups, where if I have a team that I think can compete this year, I can get a really solid flex play on the cheap, and I think Antonio Brown is that.
Billy, how are you feeling about Antonio Brown? Are you sitting there on the same page as Jakob?
Yeah, I'm kind of in the same boat where he is a very good win now value. I think the thing that you're getting with Antonio Brown is a little bit of that upside, not quite the big play, big game upside that you've seen from someone like Will Fuller or even Marquis Brown in flashes. But when you're looking at Antonio Brown, what he has is that consistent play upside that if there is a situation where he's getting a larger target share from Tampa Bay, and he is allowing them to, Sterling Shepard got taken. And he is allowing them to, or he is getting a large part of those targets, I think he's a complete value there. And he has that potential, like Jakob said, to push to be a wide receiver too. I mean, we're talking about Antonio Brown. We're calling him, 32 and talking trash. Antonio Brown in his age 30 had almost 1,300 yards and 15 touchdowns. Mm-hmm. Last year, mostly because of off-field issues, he played in one game and had 16 fantasy points in that game. Like, to be fair, in the time that we've seen Antonio Brown play, we haven't seen a whole lot of horrible play from him. That being said, he is still an older asset. He is still someone who we're probably looking at only producing for this year, maybe a little bit next year. But if there is something on that roster that contributes to him getting a larger lion's share, he is going to be a great value in the 11th round. And he has more of that upside than, Gallup, Landry, Corey Davis, Mike Williams, some of those people who went a little bit behind him.
Ooh, hot take over there on Gallup. Now, Evan Ingram, right? All right, so let's just say that we have Evan Ingram, right? He runs a 5-yard out, just something simpler.
Yeah.
And then we have Jalen Reagor out of the slot, who also runs a 5-yard out. The ball's accurate, right in their fingertips. Which one has a better chance of catching it? And if you actually had to put money on it, like, let's just say $5,000 on this on them actually making a catch, would you put money on either one making that 5-yard out?
Can I put money on the linebacker standing 3 yards behind them waiting for the tip?
Love it. Evan Ingram, man, with the ball in his hands, man, this guy's amazing, but he just can't catch the ball. Like, he's competing with Kellen Winslow for the worst hands ever in the NFL for a tight end position, him and Eric Ebron. So, yeah, he has huge upside. Trevor took that pick. And then
Billy loves Ebron. Billy is the biggest Ebron truther right now.
Whoa. Don't you put that on me.
He loves it. Last year, all summer, every time we do an episode, number one sleeper, Eric Ebron for Billy. And honestly, it worked. He was actually kind of good last year.
Yes. But, I mean, Ebron is – I've said this since he was in Indianapolis. Ebron is a tight end of opportunity. If he's getting opportunity –
Are we all?
Why do you insist on doing that? But
that wasn't me that time, Billy. That was actually Chase.
Yeah. No, Ebron is –
He doesn't believe me.
Ebron is basically Jared Cook for all I care. Like, it's two tight ends of opportunity who, if they're getting targeted, they're going to have touchdown upside, and that's all you want from a tight end.
I can't believe that Billy thought that I actually changed his name. I swear to God, I actually didn't. Chase did. Although I did change your name now. Now you're a tight end of opportunity.
Yes, thank you.
I changed his name for all those podcast listeners. I changed his name to Eric Ebron Truther because he's obviously not an Eric Ebron Truther. So let's go ahead and move forward. Leonard Fournette's interesting, but I don't think we really need to talk about him that much. I mean, he's either going to hit or he's not. Like, it's, very hit or miss for, king of the postseason. Sure. Yeah. He's never going to have like an in the middle type game. And, Tampa Bay, when it comes to Leonard Fournette and Ronald Jones, they actually led the NFL, I believe, in drops for the running back position. If we sit there and we look at Chuba Hubbard, this is where it gets interesting because we're hearing rumors that CMC is going to have his touches limited. And so looking at it, Chuba Hubbard in the 11th round could actually be a good pick, especially if we're talking maybe a first down back type situation where, hey, he just takes the carry off. If it's going to be like a 5-yard type run, if he's going to have to run up the middle, maybe just give it to Chuba Hubbard and hopes he breaks one big. So is Chuba Hubbard actually a good pick right there at 11-6? This was made by Coach Bruce.
My thing is, if you're taking Chuba Hubbard right now, you are hoping he's going to be your number one flex or number two flex at this point. And there is, just eyeballing it, 10 people immediately behind him who I would rather put in my flex right now over Chuba Hubbard. And I guarantee there's a lot more, but I was throwing out a number there. If he is a commonly used running back in the Carolina offense, we've seen success from that, but we also saw that success from CMC and to a lesser extent Mike Davis. But it's a flex option that maybe has a little bit of upside, and you're hoping that CMC goes down. I don't think he has quite the ability you're hoping for in around that 11th round.
I want to give a huge shout out to Manny in the chat, by the way. Manny, tell us what you think about CMC while you're here. And Jacob, your turn. What do you think about about Chuba Hubbard, not CMC? Tell us what you think about Chuba Hubbard. And Jacob, you're up. What do you think about Chuba Hubbard?
Yeah, I don't get this pick. Sorry, Bruce. I love you, Bruce. One of my favorite dudes, but I don't like this one. First off, I can already see like 5 wide receivers who you can put in the flex, no issue. Boyd, Fuller, Hollywood Brown, probably Darnell Mooney, Corey Davis. Like, there's a lot of guys who you're going to get value from almost 100% in the flex. Even just a running back like Zach Moss, who's the next running back off the board. He's probably a starting running back this year in a top 5 offense. Naeem Hines, he was the RB15 last year. He's going to have a role. Looking down the board, Raheem Mostert, frankly, he might be a starting running back. Gus Edwards, he's going to be able to contribute this year. With Hubbard, I think he's strictly a handcuff, right? It's Christian McCaffrey. So how much is he going to play? Maybe he plays 20%, maybe he plays 30%, maybe 40%. I just don't see a world in which Christian McCaffrey is healthy and you ever feel good about Chuba Hubbard in your lineup, or at least not as good as you could about other dudes. And I just don't think he's such a fantastic talent that you need to go and stockpile him, because if he was such a fantastic talent, he wouldn't have been drafted as a pure backup in the 4th round, right? Somebody would have drafted him in round 2 or round 3. So I just think it's a reach pick, but all the caveat being, if McCaffrey does get injured again, I think he's immediately an RB2 for fantasy. I think there's more guys that have more outs that can produce fantasy value without injury.
Don't forget, Christian McCaffrey had a 98.4% snap share back in 2019.
Yeah, he's not going to hit that. I believe that Hubbard can get like 20%, but what's 20% of snaps? Like that's not going to get in your flex position. You need 40% probably to actually be playable.
Yeah, I view that Chuba Hubbard pick almost exactly as the Alexander Madison pick, which happened 3 rounds later. Like it seems like very similar opportunities, potential upside for young players if they go down. But I mean,
actually, Billy, guess what? Here, I have this whole tier, right? Here's what I've had my rankings pulled up because I'm about to publish them tonight. And I have RB 44, Kenny Gainwell, Hubbard 45, Darrington Evans 46, Alexander Madison 47. So
yeah,
I consider those guys all about the same.
Exact same. That being said, Gainwell went a lot earlier than Madison too.
Well, Billy, you had one of the steals of the draft, in my opinion, with Will Fuller.
Mm-hmm.
Will Fuller, who's very inconsistent, but showed that he could actually stay on the field last year before it turned out that he might have been able to stay on the field because he was taking PEDs. He's sitting there.
Power to him, man. Way to go, Billy Needles.
He was wide receiver 6 before getting injured last year. Like that, I mean, that was an incredible pick. And honestly, like if I didn't trade away, like what was it, like 5 out of my 7 picks in a row, I'm sure I would have ended up with Will Fuller at some point. So sitting there and looking at it, like, what's your thought process, Will Fuller? Like, were you willing to take him earlier if quarterbacks weren't flying off the board? What's going on?
Yeah, absolutely. I was considering him at the 9-10 turn when I took Derek Carr and Chase Edmonds. The only reason I didn't take him was because I had double tapped wide receiver. Well, I guess triple tapped if you include Deontay Johnson on the turn previously.
You do a lot of triple tapping down there in Texas, Billy?
Lots of triple tapping. Let me tell you.
That's the goal. We have triple barrel shotguns. So in that case,
you do that while you're triple tapping? Jeez, yeah. I just asked you to enjoy yourself, not to shoot anyone.
Anyway,
Jesus,
yeah.
They slid away for.
So it got down to the 11th round. Will Fuller is still sitting there. I mean, if something helps if something helps Will Fuller stay healthy, it should be legal. That's my take. But I mean, some of the wide receivers that are going around Will Fuller cannot touch his upside. So, I mean, at that point, it was worth the 2022 third round I sold off to move up 5 spots to take him. So absolutely one of my favorite picks of the draft. Then I got more upside in my best friend, Darnell Mooney.
I just want to talk about my main man, South Beach, Billy Needles. Look, first of all, I don't understand why my nickname Billy Needles hasn't become mainstream yet. So
I wonder.
Yeah.
I wonder.
I mean, I think it's the best nickname in professional sports, and I'm the only one that used it. Personally, if I were Matthew Berry or JJ Zachariason or, footballers, one of those big accounts, I would be co-opting Billy Needles immediately into my brand. It's fantastic. Anyways, the best thing is I have always had, this crew of wide receivers that I refer to as my brand ambassadors. And Will Fuller has been a brand ambassador since coming into the league. And the steroids is just the logical next step because I'm pro cheating in professional sports entirely. I'm pro steroids. I'm pro stealing signals. I'm pro, doing whatever you possibly can to get ahead. I'm pro deflating footballs. I think that we have an environment that's supposed to be competitive. You should be competitive within it. Alex Cora, proudly the coach by Boston Red Sox. I've never been more proud to have a coach who's willing to do whatever it takes to win. Will Fuller will do whatever it takes to win. And I support Will Fuller and all the steroids he wants to put into his body. I hope he keeps doing it and doesn't get caught. Wide receiver 1.
He might have just had a better season overall because he's actually had access to the training facility because of COVID, and he was able to get his muscles tuned up for the season, or his tendons, I guess, tuned up for the season. But let's go ahead and hop on because I'm done talking about steroids and needles. Let's go ahead and bounce on to where do I want to go? Let's go with Marquis Brown, who's pretty much Will Fuller 2.0. A little bit of deficiencies earlier in the year, and now we have
He wishes he was Billy Needles.
Stop saying Billy Needles. I'm about to mute you. Now let's go ahead and let's talk about David Johnson.
Let's not.
David Johnson, is he washed up or not? I mean, he went 12-5.
Super washed.
Oh, God. It's terrible. All right. No, who I really want to talk about is these next 2 picks. We have Shane, who made a great pick. I even commented in the group chat because I was like, damn, that's a great pick. He got the wide receiver 2 for one of the best passing offenses in the league, hopefully moving forward in 2021. Gabriel Davis at 12.
You got Cole.
You got Gabriel Davis.
You got Emmanuel Sanders?
All right. Billy, what do you think? What do you think about Gabriel Davis? Did he get a steal right there at 12-8?
Yeah, I mean, he's going to produce so long as he's getting good targets from Josh Allen and so long as last year wasn't Josh Allen's swan song. I don't think it is, but God, is he a statistical anomaly. When we're looking at Gabe Davis, he showed out in a couple points last year. He's still very young. He's still 22 after his first season. He has a good chance. I mean, if he's one of those players out there who has, 8 years ahead of him that he can play, so long as he's keeping up that consistency. And picking that for a player like Josh Allen, who, if Buffalo's smart, is going to be in Buffalo for the next 10 years, that's a perfect situation for Gabe Davis. I think it's a great pick for someone who just needs pure upside. In terms of some of the players on Shane's team, he's taken a lot of kind of questionable not questionable, but players who have a lot of question marks. That's probably a nicer way to say what I was trying to say. And
I hope you're time marking this, Jacob.
Yeah, and a lot of them have upside.
I for sure. I can't wait to send this to Shaner.
And a lot of them have a good amount of upside too, provided things bend right for them. And if you're making that choice, you're building a team that eventually 6-7 of these players are going to bend the right way. And I think of the players on his team, Gabe Davis has one of the best chances to do that. So I think it's a great pick in the 12th round.
Who screwed DKB? He said, ouch.
Can I disagree with Billy and actually make entertaining radio?
Oh,
yeah, let's go.
God.
Yeah, I think this is a trash pick by Shane. I tell that to him to his face. I don't understand why we keep trying to make Gabriel Davis thing. All right, so I actually liked Gabriel Davis last year coming out of UCF. I thought he was underrated. I thought he was a really good guy that you should get, on your taxi squad after the draft was finished, right? And that's what he was last year. He was being drafted 4th round or not at all. He had a really good college profile. 31.5% college target share. That's insane. 19.4 breakout age, sufficiently athletic, has alpha size. So I'm all into that. However, his rookie year, I think people got really jazzed up about his rookie year. He scored a bunch of touchdowns. He only had 35 receptions. So that's nothing that special. He had a 10% target share. Now, here's where I actually get even more concerned. Everybody would agree one of the best selling points of Gabriel Davis probably is his quarterback play. Everybody agrees Josh Allen was really good last year?
Right.
Yes.
Right, okay. We agree Josh Allen was really good. So why is it then that all of his efficiency stats are total trash? He was 90th in the NFL in catch rate, 93rd true catch rate, 97th contested catch rate. Also, he was, I'm looking up his yards per route run here. It was really bad. He was 84th in yards per route run. So the issue with Gabriel Davis to me is he wasn't special. He was a guy that was out there running as the 4th wide receiver. John Brown got hurt a lot, and he happened to be in a prolific offense. Now, he's still in a prolific offense, so I think he's going to get more opportunities. And he did have a legitimately good college profile. I'm just not that excited about a 4th round wide receiver who wasn't actually that great from a real life perspective in his rookie year. I think that there's potential here, but I don't know. There's just still a lot of other guys that I would personally rather take, at the wide receiver position. Frankly, I don't like Kadarius Toney, but I think Kadarius Toney's a better bet with 1st round draft capital. I think guys like Corey Davis, Mike Williams, better bets. Denzel Mims, in my opinion, still has a better profile than Gabriel Davis. So I'm not that into Gabriel Davis. I think that he has potential. I was more into him last year when he was free. I'm not that into him now that I have to pay for him.
Well, I mean, you're not really having to pay for him. What is he, 12th round right now?
Yeah, I mean, you're foregoing a starter. I think you're foregoing a starting player still.
And I still think that it beats out Emmanuel Sanders for a starting job, and I think he's going to take the outside. I think that Stephon Diggs also command a lot more attention. And sitting there and looking at it, yeah, he ran a bunch of routes, but like you said, he was the 4th option when they spread the offense out because they really didn't have tight ends. This year, he should be the 2nd or 3rd option in this passing game. And sitting there and looking at it, I mean, he was somewhat reliant on touchdowns, but he still had big games, 14 points, 19 points, 17 points, 26 points. Or no, I'm sorry. It was 12 points, 10.8, 16, 15, and 17. Sorry, I was looking at a bonus league. So he still put up big-time points. We were talking about probably wide receiver 2 numbers. And I think that's where his cap is. I don't think he's ever going to be wide receiver 1, but he could be a back end wide receiver 2, high end wide receiver 3 for you on a regular basis. I'm cool with that. Like taking him in the 12th round. Most time that's you're talking about a flex position right there versus, getting a wide receiver 2 or 3. So I'm okay with it, but I understand where you're coming from. You could end up having higher upside with certain players, but like Billy said, if these guys hit, they hit pretty solidly.
Yeah,
so
I think he took a player who looks very similar to Mecole Hardman did 2 years ago.
Oh, gosh. Gabe Davis is better than Mecole Hardman. Mecole Hardman is absolutely terrible, and he can't play football.
Let's hope it turns out better than Mecole.
All right, so let's go ahead and bounce it over to, by the way, I think Mecole Hardman was a safety pick because Tyreek Hill was in a lot of trouble at that point in time. They still needed a field stretcher. But let's go ahead. Let's bounce it over to Kenny Gainwell. Kenny Gainwell is going to be playing one of the toughest divisions when it comes to covering and pass catching backs. I still think that he plays a lot of third down opportunities. I don't know if they're going to rely more so on Miles Sanders because guess what? The coach coming over is from Indy. What do they do with pass catching options? They played the hot hand to an extent. So maybe if Miles Sanders is sitting there on fire, maybe he'll keep getting the ball whether it's third downs or not. But overall, I think that he is going to see a good amount of third down opportunities. He was somebody that I was hoping was going to make it back to me on the turn. He went at 12-9. I was drafting at 12. So sitting there looking at it, Kenny Gainwell, really tough division. He has competition when it comes to the running back position. And Boston Scott, he's still there. So is Kenny Gainwell somebody that could actually break out this year? Or are you going to have to stash him on the taxi squad? Is he somebody that might give you a little bit of fantasy opportunity this year, or is he more of a stash?
I'll defer this to Billy because the two of you are the two highest people on Kenny Gainwell that I've ever met. Like all I would get is bounce back from Tuesday where you would be like, I love Kenny Gainwell. And then I'd go to Friday and Billy's like, I'm going to single-handedly push Kenny Gainwell into our top 20 rookies. So Billy, have at it. You two have a big Gainwell love fest.
Okay. I have stated this on the Full Tilt Pod a lot, is the reason I was high on Kenny Gainwell is because I thought the NFL, he had a skill set that a NFL team could fall in love with and take him early. As we saw in the draft, that did not happen. I like Kenny Gainwell. I like his talent. I think he was one of the few players going into this draft class who actually rose from the combine. The Memphis school is producing a lot of good players, and going into the Eagles organization is something that I think eventually will be good for Kenny Gainwell. It's not going to be good this year. I really think it's Miles Sanders' year. If it's not this year, I don't think it's going to happen. But, I mean, when we're looking at Kenny Gainwell, I really don't know what he's going to do in that offense. I mean, Miles Sanders works well can suffice as a pass-catching back. Maybe Kenny Gainwell gets a Nyheim Hines role as a pass-catching back. But, I mean, I don't think that's going to be as valuable as it was in Indy. I mean, he's not going to get touchdowns because that's either going to be Miles Sanders or Mr. 1-yard touchdown himself, Jordan Howard. It's the situation where every hole...
I totally forgot he was on the team, so thank you, really.
Every hole that Kenny Gainwell can fill is just a little bit marginalized by the fact that there is another player on that team that can do 70-80% of what Kenny Gainwell can do, and they're more established. So maybe Kenny Gainwell going into next year can pick up a little bit more of that and kind of move into a quality Nyheim Hines role where he's competing to be an RB2 with a large amount of pass catching work. But I think this year he's just going to be one of those players who works as a little bit of special teams and a little bit of change of pace to potentially open the field up a little bit more for Sanders. But that hurts me to say because I do love Kenny Gainwell.
Kenny Gainwell, better in best ball. So that's my take.
Yeah, definitely. He is going to be a best ball stud for 1 week this year. There's going to be 1 week where he catches 2 passes for like 45 yards and 2 touchdowns, and it's going to be amazing. But until that happens, I'm not going to be looking to start or think about Kenny Gainwell in any form of non-dynasty league.
Yeah, I think that Kenny Gainwell has a lot of talent. I think that he could end up carving out a role. However, this is the toughest division in football to have for pass catching running backs. I mean, they stunt every single pass catch running back they go up against, outside of maybe a handful, and they go out and they add Micah Parsons, right? And then they go out and add Jamin Davis, for Washington, and then all of a sudden the Giants, right, who have Blake Martinez, they add some defensive talent. I honestly think this is going to be one of the toughest divisions. And a lot of people are expecting shootouts, for this division. I don't know if that's the case. We could be walking into 3, possibly 4 somewhat dominant defenses, especially up against the running back position. So it'll be fun to watch this season, but I don't know if it'll be fantasy fun to watch. Now, we have Amon-Ra St. Brown and Kadarius Toney, who I took at the turn. Obviously, both these players should be starters in their respective offenses. I feel more comfortable with Kadarius Toney than I do Amon-Ra St. Brown, just because I believe that they could be using DeAndre Swift in the slot this upcoming year, which is going to take away from Amon-Ra St. Brown's touches. Plus, Jared Goff has never really thrown to his rookies. So with that being said, do you think that both of these players were, in the right place, or would you guys have rather selected them later on in the draft?
I actually prefer Toney. I had this decision, and funny enough, where's Nico Collins on here? Where did he get drafted?
He went pretty recently.
Right. Okay. So this says a lot about me, I guess. But I actually traded up in the Full Tilt Dynasty League. 208 was on the clock, and I had the 3-2-3-3, and I was going into a meeting. So I made a trade for the 209 because I didn't have enough time to wait and see who 28 went. I wanted Nico Collins. What's up, Taylor? Yes, I will look in a second. Taylor's trying to give me a trade on air for the podcast listeners. Anyway, so I traded up to the 2-9. I wanted Nico Collins. Nico Collins goes to 8. So I'm thinking, shoot, now I got to decide between Kadarius Toney and Amon-Ra St. Brown. And earlier in the draft process, in fact, on day 3, I think I tweeted in all caps, I'm taking Amon-Ra St. Brown over Kadarius Toney. Well, today I went through and I did all my rankings and I thought about it logically. And Kadarius Toney ends up at wide receiver 57, Amon-Ra St. Brown at wide receiver 58. So back to back.
Wait. What'd you say? Oh, wait, I couldn't hear you.
It's just me now.
No,
I'm just kidding. Go ahead.
Kadarius Toney.
Go ahead, say it. Go ahead and say it.
I have Kadarius Toney over Amon-Ra St. Brown. One spot apart. I have Kadarius Toney at the draft capital is too much to ignore. I think Amon-Ra is a better football player, but there's just zero insulated value. Like Amon-Ra St. Brown come out, drop 3 passes in a game, get cut on Tuesday. We never hear about him again. Kadarius Toney, they at least have to try and make it work, even if I don't think it will.
All right, Billy, I hope you're time stamping this so you can save it.
All right.
All right, no, it's interesting. Like I said, I took them, back to back. It didn't really matter what order I took them in. I felt like this is the right place to take them. After this, we saw Mike Williams go off, Denzel Mims, who probably could have gone before him. Paris Campbell was interesting. Then Nico Collins came off 3-7, who you brought up. After this, it kind of falls off.
I freaking love Nico Collins, by the way. I'm obsessed with him.
If Sean Watson is the quarterback, which I expect him to be, then but if Sean Watson's not, I just don't see how it's going to happen.
Well, what can happen next year with Spencer Rattler?
Oh, good point. Good point, my friend.
This is my pitch for Collins, by the way.
Let me hear the pitch.
This is my pitch for Collins. So first off, as a prospect, like he's missing the production thresholds, right? However, for anyone not familiar with Nico Collins, he played in Michigan, super big, super athletic. He looks like everything you want in a prospect. Really, really highly rated high school recruit. So that checks a lot of boxes for me. Comes in, he produces early. He produces as a 19-year-old. Love to see that, especially at Michigan, where they don't allow people to produce ever, right? Comes in as a junior. I think he's a 27% dominator. So he misses the 30% threshold just by a hair. And the thing is, you're missing it less at Michigan than you are at some places because Michigan doesn't pass ever. So the difference between a 27% dominator and a 30% or a 35%, that could be like 2 pass interference penalties at Michigan because they don't throw. So he's so close. Also not an early declare, but he didn't play in senior year. So this isn't a situation like a Devontae Smith, whatever, or a Dwayne Eskridge, where his senior year is really hyping him up. His senior year didn't exist. but then he gets third-round draft capital, and that's really interesting to me. And third-round draft capital, they traded up for him. They don't have any picks. They have a terrible roster, and they still traded up for Nico Collins. So that matters to me. I just think with him, in 2022, he's guaranteed intriguing quarterback play because he's either going to get Deshaun Watson back in 2022, or if Deshaun Watson's out of Houston, like this team sucks. They're going to get the number 1 overall pick, and then he's probably going to get Spencer Rattler or Sam Howell, and he has alpha wide receiver upside. So give me Collins over, a guy in Amon-Ra St. Brown who's a 4th-round slot wide receiver, Kadarius Toney, who I think just isn't very good. I'll take my shot on Nico. I'm a big fan of him.
I remember earlier on in the draft process, I absolutely loved Tamarian Terry, and he was one of my favorites. And around day 2, I tweeted out, what if Nico Collins was Tamarian Terry all along?
He was?
Because he is. He's exactly what one of my favorite players to add on to my fantasy teams. And I've been getting a lot of Nico Collins in rookie drafts this year. So I think he has a potential to be very interesting, especially in PPR this year.
Have you heard of
Probably.
Have you heard of Colin Johnson?
Yes.
Look, I podcast with you weekly, Chase. So yes.
I'm just
UT
kidding.
legend.
So we're gonna take a little bit of a jump. Actually, we're gonna take a little bit of a jump just because we're running out of time, and I've got another show here in a few minutes. Oh wait, I want to bring one player, and then we're gonna take a jump. Cole Kmet, who the Cole Kmet Club is real and existing. He didn't go all the way to the 13th round, 13-12, back to back with Rob Gronkowski. So Billy. He's the one that took him. Billy got a tight end for now, but also got Cole Kmet for the future, and then ended up going in the 16th round with Anthony Fersker. So, with that being said, Billy, which tight end are you most confident in starting in 2021?
So I didn't draft a tight end until the 13th round. I was very lonely, so on this turn, I guess once again I triple tapped tight end between 2 turns. And went Kmet, Gronk, Ferkser. It really depends on what's happening with Julio. If Julio goes to Tennessee, RIP Ferkser, I will be very happy about the fact I have Ryan Tannehill. But if not, Rob Gronkowski is running away with my tight end job right now.
Yeah.
Cole Kmet's fun. He's going to be fun in PPR for the next couple of years. But Gronk could be back to like 80% of old Gronk if he is another year healthy and he is still getting that like high-end target share that he was getting towards the back end of last year. Gronk was very, very good going into the back end of last year. I really think he's going to be the one who I'm playing for most of 2021. And if not, then I just look forward to Cole Kmet. Attaboy.
Oh.
Put him on blast.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. You are on the clock. You're on the clock. Jamie.
Am I on the clock right now in this league?
Yes. Jamie wanted to let you know.
Oh. All right. Well, let's make this pick live on air then.
Wait. Before we make this pick, I want to talk about Donovan Peoples-Jones. Because Donovan Peoples-Jones, when he was given the opportunity,
one of my dudes.
He actually, was able to produce, and he produced at a decently high level. He only had a very limited option, but he was never developed. We talked about how bad Michigan is at developing wide receivers. Like he was never developed, and now he goes to Steven Stefanski, right? Stefanski, who is great at developing late round wide receivers. We saw it with Charles Johnson. We saw it with Adam Thielen. We saw it with Stephon Diggs. Like he just keeps on, turning out these guys with the Vikings, and the Vikings are very good at it too. But he takes that system over the Browns, and they go out and they get Donovan Peoples-Jones last year. Once again, he was able to produce when he had the opportunity. Are you guys high on Donovan Peoples-Jones, or do you think it's just a wasted pick at that point? I got him all the way in the 19th round. The 19th round. What is happening?
This is Jakob gave me Kenny Gainwell, so I'll give him Donovan Peoples-Jones.
Yeah, this has been my guy for like an absurdly long time. In fact, fun Full Tilt Dynasty podcast story. The first podcast that Tom and I ever did, in the middle of the podcast, I came up on the clock in a rookie draft in the 4th round. And I was like, who am I going to take? And then I took Donovan Peoples-Jones, and I shared about why I love Donovan Peoples-Jones. Last year, I think he had like 5 catches at one point, and I posted like an 8-part Twitter thread about why you need to go get Donovan Peoples-Jones on your roster. I don't know. I haven't loved how this offseason's rolled out. A big part of my Jones love was that I thought there was a very good chance that Rashard Higgins would be gone. And then I thought there was a somewhat decent chance that either Odell Beckham or Jarvis Landry would get traded. If all those 3 are there, he's probably still 4. Plus they added Anthony Schwartz. So I'm not like super optimistic about him for this year, but I still think he's got talent. He was super, super efficient last year whenever he got chances. He's also their primary return guy, so he brings value in other ways, which helps keep him active on game day, and that's a plus. And both Jarvis Landry and Odell Beckham, I believe, can get out of their contracts after this year. So I think there's a pretty decent chance that he is playing flanker wide receiver for them next year, if they replace just one and not both. I think he's just better than Anthony Schwartz straight up. So I'm fine with Donovan Peoples-Jones. I love him as a late round, taxi squad guy.
He could actually, become that primary wide receiver role. Like he could take over the X. Like he doesn't have to be a deep threat or anything. We could see him take that leap that Stephon Diggs took, back in the day. Although Stephon Diggs didn't have any obstacles to hurdle. Obviously we're talking about DPJ, who has Odell Beckham and Jarvis Landry to hurdle. But either way, I mean, we talk about a wide receiver who could end up stepping into that role and becoming a focal point of this offense. We just have to see how much his coaching staff actually likes him. I still think it's a great pick in the 19th round after Anthony Schwartz came off the clock. So let's go ahead. By the way, Traquan Smith, I think, is a steal too at 19-4. Let's go ahead.
Marquez Callaway.
Let's discuss. Get out of here. Let's discuss the 22nd round, 6th overall pick, because you're on the clock. We'll close it out with this actual conversation. Who are you going to go with? What are your options? What's your thought process? What do you think? And I just showed the cue to the entire draft. If you're watching, then say thank you. But sitting there and looking at it, who are your options at this point?
Man, so I mean, luckily, like all of my main needs are gone, right? So I don't really have any particular positional
I would hope so. If
alignments
you're in the 22nd
here.
round.
Yeah, so I can pretty much go any direction I want. There's a few guys here that are jumping out to me that I'll share with the crew. It makes it a little bit hard, first of all, when I've got Thomas and Billy out here just making it a point to snipe every single sleeper that I've ever talked about on the podcast or on Twitter. Like I look at their rosters, it's pretty aggravating. I see Kylan Granson, KJ Hamler, Wayne Gallman, Amir Smith-Marset, all these guys all on their rosters. So, I hate them.
It's a rough turn.
I'll pull a few guys that I'm looking at in the queue, and we can talk about this. I'm interested in Trey McKitty, athletic tight end. Got 3rd round draft capital. Harrison Bryant, I also like. He flashed, I thought, a little bit last year in Cleveland. And then if I look at wide receivers, I mean, it depends. So you get John Brown, is a guy who I'd probably normally take here. I think he actually probably gets 100 targets this year. I think he's a guy you could actually play in the flex. That being said, like I'm super deep wide receiver. I don't really need 2021 production, so that's fine. He can piece out. Ultimately, the guys that I'm looking at most closely here right now are Tyler Johnson, who, I know that he's buried and he's dead. I just think he's good. So I just kind of want to put him in my tax squad. James Washington, who I was targeting all offseason because I didn't think Juju was going to be back. And then, I mean, like, I don't even understand why I'm saying this, but N'Keal Harry is also in my queue.
Yeah. Agreed.
I hate myself for saying it, but I am interested in N'Keal Harry slightly. There's one more guy, I guess I would say it's Jacoby Myers, who I think is like actually good at football. I just don't know if he plays. What do you guys think? Who would you take here? Each give me a name, and you can go off the board. Don't have to stick to the guys I've talked about.
Chase, actually, you talk because I'm about to send Jacob a trade offer for this pick.
Oh man, we're about to make a trade on air. We're making a trade on air.
I promise you, I'll probably take it.
My screen just went blank, like as we're talking, so my screen just shut off. But now it's yellow. We're all yellow. I would take.
I don't even know what I want to send you for this.
Colin Johnson at this point. He is an absolute steal.
Was Colin Johnson still on the board?
I swear to God, Jacob. I was saying this because I didn't think you would take him in a heart. I
would totally take Colin Johnson. I didn't know he was on the board. Well, let's see. Where do I have Colin Johnson at?
I'm literally trying to fix my screen as we talk.
Okay, I'm looking at my rankings here.
I put my foot on the cord.
Go look at that.
My highest ranked player is Tyler Johnson. I have Tyler Johnson at 83. And then I've got Preston Williams, 87. Jacoby Myers, 89. John Brown, 88. And I got Colin Johnson chilling here at wide receiver, 95.
One of my favorite sleepers for this year is still on the board. So
okay, well, what did you just offer me here? You offered me a 23rd and a 25th. Yeah, I don't give a crap about your 23rd or 25th. You're gonna have to give me a rookie pick. You have to. Oh, you don't have any fourths left?
No, we didn't do fourths. That's what I said. We weren't doing fourths this year because we didn't put on. When Thomas was not in the league, he didn't.
You know what? How about this? I feel so good about my team. You can have this pick for free if we swap seconds this year.
Ooh, that's a good one.
Sure, fuck it.
I like that. I like that trade.
Look at this.
Trade on air. Let's go. Let's go. That's
all
sick.
right.
I like it a lot. So they're swapping seconds.
This is absolutely me calling a shot on a player who could be absolutely worthless.
Wait, are you gonna take Bryson Hopkins?
No.
Oh, okay. I thought that was one of your boys.
Do like that though. But this player could be worth absolutely nothing. But I also think he has the potential to be the top 9 tight end.
Whoa.
Ooh.
So there's the pick.
Oh, I like
Dan
that.
Arnold.
I like that. The
Dan
postman.
Arnold.
Yeah.
The postman.
I actually really like him for this year. I think he has the potential to get a huge target share there. And honestly, I think he could be a very useful piece of that offense. It's an offense that does not produce touchdowns near the goal line very often, especially passing touchdowns. So if they're going to come, they're going to mostly come from Dan Arnold. So that's my hope. So it's a total risk. I mean, that could have just cost me, 8 picks in next year's rookie draft. But if that's the case, whatever. It's a fun draft, and I don't have a single Dan Arnold share, and I really like him for next year. So,
and how great is it going to be when Darnold is throwing touchdown passes to D. Arnold?
Yeah.
What a perfect pairing.
Then there's DJ Moore and David Moore.
This is going to be like the D. Johnson saga.
Yeah.
In Houston. All right. We're going to get out of here on that note. Great way to end the show. You guys complete a trade, which is what this whole draft was. Like we talked about in the first 11 rounds, we had 24 trades go through, which is absolutely insane. Going to end it with 25, I guess, unless somebody decides to get a little wily at this point. Hopefully this trade will finish before Jamie goes to Florida in 2 weeks. We got to see what happens. But yeah, no, we appreciate you guys for coming in, of course. Let everybody know where to find you real quick. Start with Billy.
Yeah, my handle is incorrect in the bottom hand corner because I was disagreeing with Pro Steroids right above me. But in that case, it's now fixed. You can find me at BigBillyFF on Twitter. I mostly tweet jokes and dumb stats for people to find out. That's my niche. Projections should be coming in the next week or so that's very exciting. And beyond that, yeah, it's going to be a fun little season. And I'm real excited about my draft in this league. Jacob, why don't you plug some stuff?
Look at you doing the transitions. Chase, you're losing your use on this show by the second year. All of a sudden, Billy's doing transitions.
I just want everybody to follow his handle down there in the corner.
You can find me at FF_steroids. No, you can find me at FF_RTDB. I'll be spouting, all sorts of propaganda about the wide receiver 1 season that Billy Needles is going to have this year. You can also probably find me shit talking Zeke. You'll find my rankings, my dynasty rankings. I'm going to be posting my top 60 running backs, top 100 wide receivers, top 40 quarterbacks and tight ends, and the top 5 rounds in order in Superflex by 8:30 Central Time. So that's within 30 minutes. And that'll be coming out right away. So look forward to hearing you talk about how idiotic all of those rankings are. I'll also have a few pieces coming out shortly on playerprofiler.com. And, of course, you can find me on Tuesday nights beside Chase and Shay Manila, host Dynasty Intervention, as well Seek Enthusiast, as well as on Fridays on the Full Tilt Dynasty podcast. One more quick reminder to enter for free Scott Fishbowl entry. Go over to @DynastyTilt, find the tweet, and I won't go through the whole thing, but just follow the instructions on the tweet. They're pretty easy. Do that. Have fun. Get into SFB 11. Have a good one.
Yeah, make sure you guys go follow him at Zeke Enthusiast on Twitter.
Jesus.
You guys can also go check me out at FF_intervention. I just made my thing go off again. Once again, that's FF_intervention. You guys can also go check out our work at joinourcircle_. FantasyIntervention.com and YouTube.com/FantasyIntervention. Big shout out to, of course, Fantasy Football Discussion. Keep those questions coming, guys. We appreciate it all. I'm about to start a mailbag in there so we can keep things rolling. We appreciate you guys for tuning in. Thank you all for letting us intervene with your fantasy football life. We're out.